Hi, I'm Kelly Kramer.
And I'm Scott Sipker. Welcome to Western Iowa.
And a mix of history and outdoor exploration here at Lewis and Clark State Park.
Coming up on this episode of Iowa Outdoors, we embark on an outdoor adventure, mixing team building and high ropes in the treetops. We explore the trailblazing history at Western Iowa's Lewis and Clark State Park. We witness a combination of bamboo and craftsmanship, all in an effort to create a signature angling tool. And we'll paddle among the sights and sounds on Lake Red Rock with wildlife photographer Ron Huelse.
We'll have all that and more.
So sit tight. Iowa Outdoors is about to begin.
Funding for Iowa Outdoors is provided by the Claude P. Small, Catherine Small Cousins, and William Carl Cousins Fund at the Lincoln Way Community Foundation in Clinton County to support nature programming on Iowa Public Television.
Many of Iowa's natural wonders you'll find on IPTV can be found in Iowa Outdoors magazine, the Iowa DNR's premier resource for conservation, education, and recreation activities. Subscription information can be found online at iowadnr.gov.
If you spend any time this summer traversing the western rim of Iowa, you'll likely share a geographic location with the historic Lewis and Clark expedition.
The Corps Discovery is a pivotal journey in American history, and later in the program, we'll showcase how you can experience a small portion of that history right here at Lewis and Clark State Park near Ottawa.
But first, we'll venture into the treetops for an exercise of skill and precision on top of logs, bridges, and rope lines. Imagine taking a break from the typical day at the office, ditching the phones and computers, and embarking on an outdoor adventure with coworkers instead. Or maybe your youth group or school class could use some time in nature honing problem-solving skills.
From racing down a zip line to a classic trust fall, Louisa County Conservation's ropes course can be an adrenaline rush. But it has a deeper purpose too, to build and develop valuable skills for people of all ages.
And if you've ever wanted to jump from a tall pole and catch a trapeze bar in midair, consider this experience a leap of faith.
Atta girl!
The Challenge Course at Langwood Education Center near Wapello is an outdoor playground for both adults and kids. It's a chance to fly high and have fun, as well as challenge yourself and others to grow.
Nice! Jeez, that comes at a clip.
On this particular day, about 20 employees from Kent Corporation in Muscatine are here. It's the kickoff of a year-long development program for them. The company has been sending small groups of employees to the Langwood Challenge Course for several years.
They're trying to come together as a group, and they're looking for solutions to get that teamwork, that communication, that cohesiveness between their workers. They want to identify their leaders and really empower them.
That's really the key, is we're looking to grow leaders and to have our employees stretch themselves a little bit. And so I think they'll gain some really valuable personal experiences out of this day, and they can take those back to their workplace.
Louisa County Conservation hosts 20 to 25 groups at the Challenge Course each year. It's a delicate balance between facilitating these programs and still giving naturalists time to do the traditional environmental education they consider essential. The course is a destination for school field trips, businesses and employee outings, youth groups, and even family reunions.
Falling!
Falling! Whoa!
They know that they've got a team to back them up no matter what. And it's not just with the corporations. When we get the kids groups out here also, they're facing things such as bullying or stress from standardized testing or something like that. They know after coming out here and problem solving as a large group that they can rely on each other, or if they're having a problem, they can go to each other, empower each other, and overcome. So that's our goal. We want to empower everybody and help them overcome their challenges.
Nice job climbing that pole.
The course includes both high and low challenge activities. The high rope elements take people up to 30 feet off the ground on a series of poles, ropes, and cables. A helmet, harness, and trained belay on the ground help keep everybody safe.
Okay, zipping! Fair enough? Okay.
The high ropes include a zip line, Burma bridge, and a leap of faith pole with trapeze bars.
2, 1.
The low elements are close to the ground and aren't as much of an adrenaline rush, but are extremely valuable team-building exercises. They include initiative challenges like stretch, the spider web, and trust fall.
It is not my goal to tell them what they need to learn out of this and what they need to take out of this. It's to create a conversation within the group and have them talk to each other and talk about what they're learning and what they're frustrated with, because they need to learn to do that in the workplace. I just give them the tools and they have to come up with the solution.
There's no right answer. And oftentimes as a facilitator, we have to remind ourselves that, because a lot of times there's a most common solution. And so we never want to push a group into an answer. We want them to find their own solution to the problem.
The low elements test the team's problem-solving abilities and help develop skills like communication, creativity, strategic thinking, support and encouragement, resource management, and leadership. Everybody has a role to play.
We work in various locations, different parts of our company, so obviously we can rely upon kind of the bond we built today throughout this entire process and hopefully through professional careers within Kent Corp. So that's the main takeaway for me.
Yeah, I definitely think you see people strengths right away. You know, the people who are more likely to step up and take charge, or, you know, go first and try something. And there's definitely, you know, a place for that, but there's also a place for the people that are more, you know, introspective and want to kind of see how things play out and then have their input later. When you've got a challenge and you really don't know the answer, you really got to use every single person's perspective to figure it out.
The low ropes is really focused on the team as a whole and working together to accomplish your goal. The high ropes focuses really more on the individual. Although you're still there as a team, you're still working together, it's individuals accomplishing their goal.
This program is challenged by choice. Participants don't have to do anything they don't want to do, but even those on the sidelines remain engaged. It's an opportunity to push yourself, expand boundaries, and try something new. Maybe even build confidence and overcome fears.
Participants might arrive with certain goals in mind, but they often leave having accomplished more than they expected.
I really like the high ropes course. Like, I haven't done anything like that since Scouts, you know, in middle school. It's so much harder than it looks. Yeah, it's just so unstable and you're kind of rocking back and forth. It's, yeah, way harder than it looks.
In addition to learning, it's a great opportunity to get outdoors, breathe fresh air, and connect with nature.
We made the most of it right from the get-go, and obviously it's nice to get kind of away from the desk.
This is my kind of work.
And that's kind of your foot in the door, because once you get them interested in the outdoors, they're going to want to start being in the outdoors, and then they're going to start caring about the outdoors more. And then we can start pushing them into that stewardship role where they're gonna take action to protect the outdoors.
At the end of the day, the challenge course gives participants an unforgettable experience and a strong foundation of valuable skills they can take back to the classroom or the workplace or home. An outdoor adventure that empowers people to reach new heights.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm ready to go down, man.
2 years prior to the Corps of Discovery expedition, Iowa was part of France's North American territory. After a fantastic financial deal for the fledgling U.S. was finalized, President Thomas Jefferson commissioned a group of U.S. Army volunteers and 2 explorers, Meriwether Lewis and Alexander Clark, to map out this unknown territory.
While traversing up the Missouri River, the Corps' primary method of transportation was an early 19th century keelboat barge, like this replica here. It's one of the many features you can experience firsthand at Western Iowa's Lewis and Clark State Park.
When visiting the Lewis and Clark State Park, a great place to get started is the Visitor Center. Inside, you'll learn about the men and the mission that were so integral to American history, and you'll get to see a replica of the Lewis and Clark keelboat. Actually, the park is home to 4 keelboat replicas, but the star of the show is easily the 55-foot-long barge. Built to the exact specifications of Lewis and Clark's barge, the expedition used this boat to sail into U.S. and Iowa history.
Well, Lewis and Clark actually come up the Missouri River and they actually passed this point. This lake used to be part of the river. As far as we know, there was a camp close to here, but not right here.
Inside the Visitor Center, many details of what Lewis and Clark discovered during their time in Iowa can be learned, including accounts of their encounters with natives, the wildlife they confronted, and how the crew handled the hard journey out west.
When we bought the Louisiana Territory, Jefferson wanted to know what we had bought. He had heard that there was a waterway between ocean to ocean across land, but there wasn't.
While the expedition was unable to find a cross-country waterway, it did teach the nation about the world west of the Mississippi, and one of its discoveries happened right here in Iowa.
They caught a badger right in this area, according to their ledgers, and they ended up having to kill it because they never seen one before and tan the hide to send it back to Jefferson. But in their journals, they said it was the meanest little critter that they ever seen. And there's a number of things like that that they will see when they visit here.
Besides being home to historical information about the Lewis and Clark expedition, the Visitor Center also houses interactive displays that are fun for all ages. While there's plenty of fun and games to be had inside, everything from attempting to pull a barge to learning pioneer knots, the best hands-on piece of history is outside, floating on Blue Lake. Just outside the Visitor Center is another replica of a Lewis and Clark barge. This one is slightly modified to be longer and wider to accommodate the public who wish to experience a little bit of history for themselves.
It's part of history. You know, they're actually doing something. They're on a boat similar of what Lewis and Clark had, and it's an adventure. Because when we're out there, we're going over what Lewis and Clark did, and a lot of times we'll even let people get up on top and run the boat, you know, actually steer the boat. So it's a lot of fun, and they really enjoy it.
John Wilcox is one of many history enthusiasts who every June, as part of the Lewis and Clark Festival, come out to the park and revive the pioneer days of the early 1800s. The festival attracts thousands to Blue Lake's shoreline to visit with men and women, dressed like John, trying to keep history alive.
There will be anywhere from 60 to 100 camps set up. It's not just something that you walk into and walk around. There's a lot of activities that you can actually participate in.
A combination of rhythmic casting and tremendous patience make fly fishing practically an art form. Today's rods are specially engineered angling tools to snag everything from trout to salmon, but the art of rod craftsmanship was created hundreds of years ago.
Utilizing a slow, deliberate process, one Ankeny retiree has reminded anglers that a combination of bamboo and craftsmanship may be the best way to cast a line.
Back on the farm, on the back 40 in the pond, I took up fly fishing. And then later in life, I read a book on building split bamboo fly rods. I combined the building the rods with the fly fishing, and it's just been a great activity, has kept my attention for many, many years. The first rod I built, it took maybe 80 hours. I'm not sure, but to keep a good price, you have to keep down the number of hours. And I got it down now to, I think, about 10 hours.
Steve Pennington is part of an exclusive club. As he estimates, there are fewer than 30 manufacturers still building split bamboo fly rods. Beyond the time it requires to assemble a bamboo rod, it's not easily converted to a machine process. Whereas graphite and carbon fiber rods can be made on an assembly line, split bamboo must be done by hand. But that hasn't hurt fishermen's desires to fish with bamboo.
A lot of fishermen, even though they have several graphite rods, they will want a split bamboo in their collection just because it's handcrafted from natural materials. They've been built with split bamboo for over 100 years now. They are valuable as a collectible.
But beyond nostalgia, they are also practical. Bamboo is one of the strongest natural fibers on the planet. Learning to work with it is an eye-opening experience.
If someone would want this as a hobby, the good thing is that the depth of the hobby never ends. Building a rod from split bamboo, building the reel seats is almost like making jewelry. You can just get into all kind of other fields in this hobby.
Of course, before you cast your first line, you'll need to work with the raw materials, starting with a piece of bamboo.
This is just as it is cut from the patch. We're going to split it. It splits very easily in the long direction. It's very strong across the grain.
Steve continues splitting until the bamboo is reduced to strips roughly the width of a pencil. These strips will ultimately form the finished rod, but first, they must be molded into casting form through planing.
The next step from the bamboo stick, they're rectangular. We're going to change that so that it's a triangular cross section. This is a hand process. Take a couple strokes, turn it over, a couple more. Get the same number of strokes on each side, and that keeps it as an equilateral triangle.
It's at this stage that the casting quality of the rod is determined. With each stroke of the hand plane, the bamboo strips get tapered down more and more, leaving the outside edge of the strip rounded.
Keep turning and planing. We got a lot of shavings and a completed strip.
Splitting and planing the bamboo are easily the most time-consuming, labor-intensive, and important part of the rod building process. If the planer's work is off by even 1/1000th of an inch, the rod weight will be uneven and cast poorly.
And once we get 6 of them planed, we're going to apply glue to those surfaces. We're going to roll it up into a 6-sided fly rod. We're going to bind that with string until the glue dries. This is one that where the glue has dried. We'll take the string off. We will scrape off, and it scrapes off really very easily.
Bamboo naturally has a very textured and rough surface, so after scraping, Steve smooths it out further with steel wool and sandpaper, leaving a shining fly rod ready for assembly.
From there, we have the blanks. We attach the ferrules, which allows the rod to be taken down into 2 pieces for transport. We put on the reel seat, we put on the cork handle, we attach the line guides by winding on with thread to hold them on. We apply a varnish over the wraps and over the rod itself, and then we make a tube and a bag, and that's the process.
Of course, fishing poles are meant to be used, as are fly rods like Steve's. Since retiring over 10 years ago, Steve believes he's crafted more than 1,000 split bamboo fly rods, and thanks to the internet, they've been sold all over the country and world. However, to truly gauge their quality, we need to look no further than his hometown of Ankeny.
I couldn't ask for anything better. It's a good quality rod. And not only do I have one, but I have 3 of them.
Larry Murphy is an avid fisherman, owning a slew of carbon, graphite, and bamboo fly rods. He routinely reaches for his bamboo rod to cast his line.
Fly fishing is my passion. And when you use good equipment like this, it's wonderful.
Besides seeing firsthand the care Steve puts into his fly rods, Larry's affinity for bamboo comes from its light handling and ease of use.
It's pretty forgiving. when you're casting with a bamboo rod. So it's a good rod for beginners to use. And the craftsmanship is wonderful.
Today, fishermen from Alaska to Switzerland are enjoying Steve's split bamboo craftsmanship. And while he's pleased with the success his rods have found, his favorite part is still getting out in the water and hooking a fish.
Outdoor adventurers already know the best way to explore a body of water is up close and personal, often in the agile confines of a kayak. Your perspective of a lake or stream may change once you've physically propelled yourself along the surface of the water.
That unique aquatic view attracted Ron Huelse to Lake Red Rock for decades. A keen photographic eye and an interest in conservation kept Ron connected to his paddle and his camera.
When his paddle makes its first slice into a glassy, reflective surface, a sunrise ritual begins. Sometimes this place is so calm, his traveling companion is lulled into a nap, as each stroke brings this kayak closer to nature, closer to one Iowan's version of serenity. For Ron Huelse, a morning at Lake Red Rock is more than exercise, more than fresh air. It's a homecoming.
And you have two types of kayakers. You have the guys that come out here and they go from point A to point B, and they're going to be in the middle of the river. And then you got people like me, where the shoreline is where the animals are anyhow. And so I just follow the shoreline, and every day is something different, which is pretty cool.
Stretching 11 miles from end to end, Lake Red Rock is encircled with a network of protected nooks and crannies to paddle into. They represent some of Ron's favorite spots to observe wildlife.
As I came into this bay, there was a mother and a baby beaver. And I stayed on the far side, and she was naturally on the east side. And so I just worked my way so that I would be a little bit closer. And somehow she felt that between the two of us that there was nothing to fear. So she had the little baby nursing her as she was right along the shore. I mean, not too many people get to see a situation where the baby beaver is nursing on its mother, so that was a great opportunity. And that's another wonderful thing with the kayaks. They're not imposing at all. They don't make any noise. You can go up to a lot of these animals and they just are not bothered. But that was really neat.
Red Rock was once a Des Moines river town in south-central Iowa when it was dammed and flooded more than 40 years ago. The remaining rock edifices and occasional dead tree trunks are reminders that this man-made lake is still ripe for exploration.
But you can see how high the water gets because where that dead tree is, there'll be water. You can kayak on that upper ridge. But when you go around this bend, there has been 2 red-tailed hawks, and there must be a nest. I mean, it's pretty late for the babies, but they've been there. It's unusual that you see 2 of them together, and they're reluctant to fly very far away.
Over the past decade, Ron's kayaking passion melded with photography. In retirement, his work has become a regular fixture in Iowa Outdoors magazine and calendars, with his candid wildlife images capturing the attention and imagination of Iowans.
You can take it from a boat, a regular gasoline boat or diesel, but it means a lot more if you can take it out of a boat where you're kayaking. And it's like anything else. Experience is a valuable teacher.
Ron brings his gear on the water, drifting into the Red Rock backwaters, hoping to capture a moment rarely found in the middle of Iowa's largest lake.
A lot of people always ask me, why would you take your camera and your lens? Because you got a big investment. And I guess it's the challenge to do it and still stay in one piece. I would recommend it.
Whether on the water or on land, Ron's wildlife images have always sought to draw Iowans to care more about their outdoors environment, to see wildlife as a precious resource worth protecting.
Like until probably the middle of June, I always let Louis swim. Give him some therapy. Usually with those feet dangling down every once in a while, you'd think that you'd come across a turtle, but haven't had that problem yet.
From steamy July mornings to the icy afternoons below the dam in January, Iowa's largest water reservoir is a haven for birds of all shapes, sizes, and behaviors. Ron's work to protect eagle habitat, osprey nests, and other Midwestern raptors has helped not only his photography passion projects, but to perpetuate a healthy ecosystem in Iowa and the Red Rock community.
A beautiful place.
And he finds a calming sunrise paddle to be one of the best ways to start your day in the Iowa outdoors. That wraps up this early summertime edition of Iowa Outdoors. We encourage you to explore our historic state parks like Lewis and Clark here in western Iowa. If you're planning your outdoor summer travel, check out our extensive video archives of adventures across Iowa at iptv.org/Iowa Outdoors.
Our 5th season of Iowa Outdoors will continue with monthly installments throughout 2015 with stories from every corner of our state. We'll leave you now with some more images of summer in Iowa.
Funding for Iowa Outdoors is provided by the Claude P. Small, Catherine Small Cousins, and William Carl Cousins Fund at the Lincoln Way Community Foundation in Clinton County to support nature programming on Iowa Public Television.
Many of Iowa's natural wonders you'll find on IPTV can be found in Iowa Outdoors magazine, the Iowa DNR's premier resource for conservation, education, and recreation activities. Subscription information can be found online at iowadnr.gov.